Hello, everyone. This is going to be an exceedingly short agenda. This is Committee on Hawaiian Affairs. We have one measure on the docket, GM 574. That was a nomination that was withdrawn, so we have nothing on our agenda. Meeting is adjourned.
Hello and welcome to the hearing with the Senate Committees on Economic Development and our good friend and Tourism and our good friends at Hawaiian Affairs. Today's Tuesday, April 15, 2025. This is our 1:10 p.m. agenda, and we're in conference room 225. This hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we must abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, another notice will be posted at a later date. The committee has gone through all the testimony, so we encourage you to stand on your written testimony. And if you'd like to add comments, you will have 1 minute to do so. This agenda has one House resolution, so we'll go ahead and get started with HCR 192. First up, Director Tokioka in support. Next up, Pony Askew, testifying for Office of Hawaiian Affairs. In support, Steve Ong, prosecuting attorney. Hello.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. Honorable Prosecutor Steve Alm, we're in opposition to this. I certainly appreciate the intent. If anyone deserves a break, it's Native Hawaiians. I just don't think gambling is the right way. And there are, this working group is not going to look at pros and cons. It's going to be how do we get gambling here? And I'm really worried about that. The red flags coming from all over, and even John Oliver had a story about this and all the problems on the mainland with it. But research has found it's going to help the least advantageous, the poorest folks among us are going to get hurt the most by legalized gambling. And they're going to be the ones that are problem gamblers. And unfortunately, the business model for the state is going to be to make money off the problem gamblers. 2 weeks ago, the mayor and city council of Baltimore filed a complaint for unfair and deceptive practices against FanDuels and DraftKings. 96% of the bettors online lose money, only 4% make money. So they make 96% of our Hawaii citizens are going to lose at sports gambling. I'm afraid it'll tarnish sports for us. People at UH football games, wahine, volleyball games, I mean, look at their phones betting on, will they make the field goal? Will it be a pass next time? And the like. And I hate to see that. So the Department of Taxation, and I'll finish up with this, the Department of Taxation testified in February that it's only going to bring in 5.5 million the first year, 5.3, 5.5 the second, 5.7 the third. Out of a budget of 10 billion, with all the problems associated with this, I really don't think this is a good path to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Christine Wrighton, Aloha Lava District Partners. Thank you. Next up, Cody Sula, Ironworker Stabilization Fund in support. Madeline McKeague, testifying for Council Native Hawaiian Advancement.
Hi, aloha, Madeline McKeague on behalf of the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. We stand on our testimony in strong support. I think I would also like to emphasize the importance of making informed decisions, and I think that's a strong part of this working group. Gaming is a very diverse economic field. Just because sports gambling might have a variety of problems, that doesn't mean perhaps bingo doesn't. And I think the importance of making an informed decision, doing research into this is the most important part of this. And so that's why we encourage a strong support on this. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next up, Bumpy Kanahele for testifying for Nation of Hawaii. In support, Brendan Maka'ava, testifying for our nation as well.
Aloha. I'm in support of this bill and to respectfully request a seat at the table. Over the past 4 years, we visited Native nations across the U.S., from the Seminoles in Florida to the Pechanga in California, learning directly from their experiences with gaming. What we've seen is that there is a good way to do this and a bad way. For us, this isn't about chasing profits, it's about reconciliation. It's about restoring self-determination and creating a framework that helps uplift our people while also protecting them. We believe our lived experiences, our cultural grounding, and the relationships we've built with other Native nations gives us a unique perspective. We're ready to contribute meaningfully to this working group to ensure that gaming in Hawaii, if it comes, will be done the right way. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next up, John Garcia, Nation of Hawaii, also in support. Dwayne Bautista, in support. Mel Kahele, in support. Sheila Maderas, in opposition. Roku Aina Letua, in opposition. Johnny May L. Perry, in opposition. And then Lemomi Khan, in opposition. Michael Older, in support. We've got 4 others also in opposition. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Aloha.
Aloha. My name is Edward Romo, Senior Pastor of International River of Life Christian Center out on the Waianae Coast. I believe I don't think it's a good idea to bring in gambling in. I come directly from California. I am an American Indian, and it didn't help us out. All it does is just bring more awareness of what is taking place, and it's everybody says about bringing in the revenue, really doesn't. Because what happens is that the people that don't have money want to go to the casinos to see if they can make money. And that's where it all starts at. Before you know it, there ain't no homes, there ain't no families, because it's been deteriorated by the gambling that is taking place. I'm originally from there. Like I said, I am an American Indian. Right now, my family is in the position of fighting to do something. But like I said, all it's going to do is bring problems. I'm against it.
Thank you.
And aloha.
Anybody else wishing to testify? Aloha.
Hello, my name is Nelson Sua. I come from a family that's done over 230 years in prison time. We were labeled the Brotherhood of Crime, and I've given my life to the Lord, and because of that experience on that side of the fence, what a lot of you guys might not be seeing is the onslaught of criminal activity and organizations that will come into the state outside of Hawaii, right? And this is going to kill our descendants, basically. And at the end of the day, I don't care how much money that we need, it doesn't justify the loss that we're going to have with losing our kids to crime, to addiction, to suicide. And that's how the dark side works. It comes in with a little piece, and then it starts to manifest. And there's already organizations that are here, so I just stand against this bill. So I just want to let you guys know that. Aloha.
Thank you. Mahalo. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure?
Aloha, I'm Christina Everett with Project Nehemiah Hawaii. What this bill will do, it's going to create a pipeline of addiction and broken families. Legalizing gambling leads to increased cases of addiction, especially the low-income, Native, and vulnerable populations. Families will be destroyed, marriages will be destroyed, homes will be lost, and children will be neglected. This has been proven in states like Nevada and New Jersey. This is a backdoor to state-run dependency program. FPAS, HCR 192 will justify new programs funded by the state to help gambling addicts, programs that could have been avoided altogether. These programs will require millions of tax dollars, while the state benefits from the very addiction it then pretends to solve. This cycle is manipulative and it's immoral. Crimes will increase, theft and fraud to fund gambling habits, this will come. Domestic violence will come. Illegal underground gambling will come. Children neglected will come. What you guys will promise with this bill, economic growth from tourism? No. Growth of gambling tourism, not local prosperity. This is not for the local people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure?
Aloha, Angela Melody Young testifying on behalf of CARES. wishing to comment. So what's anticipated in this resolution can be more focused on balancing the positive economic development options for the Hawaiian community instead of the legalizing gambling and gaming. Because within the scope of the work, it talks about economic development initiatives. And not just exclusive of gambling and legalizing gaming. So the small businesses that can be empowered in the Hawaiian community, for example, food booths and food trucks, and for the state to legislate parameters to provide commercial kitchen access for development of Hawaiian food trucks while promoting expansion of agricultural development to improve quality of agriculturally grown ingredients in Hawaiian fusion food can help with a creative skill set to develop creative talent in business skills
Melody, thank
for the
you.
Hawaiian community. And then they can have Hawaii's finest, more food trucks, right? And Merry
you.
Monarch
Melody, time
festivals.
is up.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Please.
Hello, Sheila Medeiros. I'm just going to read off my prepared statement. Oh, shoots. Wait. Legalized gambling is a short-term pleasure for long-term pain. I strongly oppose legalizing gambling in Hawaii. It's a reckless bet that promises quick cash for delivers long-term devastation to our communities and future generations. The evidence is clear. Gambling fuels addiction across ethnic groups. A 2016 Pili Vaivai studies found 33.2% of Honolulu's Filipino Americans, 20% of Native Hawaiians, and 25% of Japanese Americans gamble yearly, with the addiction rates rising. Pennsylvania saw a 10% surge in addiction hotline calls after legalizing casinos, per a 2022 Civil Beat report, a trend that would grip Hawaii's diverse population. Crime spikes in gambling hubs. Las Vegas has a 20% higher violent crime rate than non-gambling cities, per 2023 FBI data, and a 2025 Justice Department case tied Oahu's illegal game rooms to meth trafficking. Human trafficking flourishes in gambling zones. Nevada's legalized scene correlates with a 30% higher trafficking rate per a 2021 Polaris study.
Can you wrap it up? Your time is up.
Endangering vulnerable Native, Hawaiian, Filipino, and Asian communities. Family structures, 40% of gambling addicts face divorce, per a 2023 Hawaii Island Recovery Report, leaving keiki neglected and unstable. These broken homes create generational trauma, with grandchildren facing poverty, addiction, emotional scars. As studies shown, children of addicts are 50% more likely to develop substance abuse issues, per a 2021 National Institute on Drug Abuse report. Bottom line, our mo'opunas are going to suffer. I'm a grandmother. I'm sure some of you are grandmothers too. We can't allow this.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to testify? Hi. Hello.
Roko Letua, representing myself in International Bureau of Life Christian Center. And I strongly oppose this bill. And one of the reasons is I come out of addiction. And I've been an addict about over 30 years, since I was 14. Right now I'm 55. And, I firsthand saw what gambling and addiction can do to families. And not only that, it creates a hub for criminal activity. And I've been involved in game rooms and gambling and drugs, so I know these things firsthand. And now that I'm on the other side, we've been battling game rooms and men and women who have come out of addiction in the Waianae area and within that whole west side, from Waipahu to Makaha.
Thank you. Can you wrap it up?
And yes, well, in conclusion, you're only hurting the Hawaiian people, because that's who lives here. And if you continue to give a place where they can have a hub for these people to come in and start addictive behaviors, it's only going to get worse, you know? And if you've been an addict for many years, it's going to take many years to come out of that darkness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else wishing to testify? Aloha.
Hi, my name is Stella Romo. I'm from International River of Life Christian Center. I also oppose to this bill because I have grandchildren also, and I have grandchildren right now that don't have a father because of gambling. He got caught up in gambling, and after gambling, it goes to drugs, goes to alcohol, it goes to stealing, taking things that don't belong to him, and to just keep going with that addiction. That's just another addiction because we get so caught up in doing these things that we want more, we think we're gonna win, and we're not gonna win. And what happens, you end up losing your children, you end up losing your job, everything that you have worked so hard for, now you don't have it. Now we're gonna have innocent people in the society that, you know what, that are barely making it and thinking, oh, it's gonna be okay to try to go one day and just think that they're gonna come up one day, just like an addiction. That's how they are. They think they're gonna come up one day, but they end up losing everything. So I strongly oppose to this because, you know, we see what's gonna take place for our next generation. Our children are gonna suffer, and our children's children are
Thank
gonna
you.
suffer.
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Aloha.
I believe we shouldn't have any gambling in
Can
Hawaii
can you
because
please
it's
state your name? Can you please state your name?
Wendell Hirschman.
Thank you.
I don't think we should have the gambling in Hawaii because it's going to cause a lot of chaos. You know, you're going to have like families going to get, you know, like let's say for an example, if these gambling starts and then people begin to get addicted to the gambling and they want to borrow money so they can gamble even more, and then they cannot pay back to the person that they got the money from, okay? You know, they can get killed if they don't pay back the money. And then we're going to have all these criminals like syndicates, the cartels, and all these people getting involved. And I don't think we should have it here. Hawaii is not a place for it. Maybe in Vegas, but not in Hawaii. This is a paradise. We don't have enough room for this kind of stuff, okay? And I oppose the bill.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? See none. Members, any questions?
Hello, Brendan. Thank you. Question, you've heard the other side.
Right.
Could you respond, please?
Well, you know, I'm not in favor of gaming per se, just for economic growth. I think there's a bunch of different things we can do. But, you know, if we are heading down that road, I believe that Hawaiians should be involved because we will be impacted the most. I think that you know, through our studies, through going around the country, we met with the Muskogee in Oklahoma, we met with the Seminoles in Florida, Pachanga in California, a bunch of different tribes. There are good ways to do this where we are protected, but Hawaiians have to be leading these conversations and not the operators. It's not fail-proof. I mean, there are going to be problems, but like what Prosecutor Alms stated, we cannot have these companies come in just strictly looking for profit. If we go in that route, we're gonna make big mistakes. I think our Hawaiian communities need to be leading these discussions. That's why I appreciate the changes in the bills to remove the operators by name. I think we can adopt some of the measures that the Native nations have used to help mitigate these issues, but they're not, you know, it's not perfect. You know, gaming has its flaws, but there's a good way we can do this, and then there's a bad way.
Brendan, hang on. Brendan, you know, I've heard the testifiers talk about gaming.
Right.
You realize this is a working group that they're convening to understand, yeah?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, we want to be part of the discussion. You know, in other instances, we've been against the gaming because You know, and we still are against like online gaming and all these things because it's not led by us. It's led by operators who want to come in and make a profit. And the state is not going to make as much money as they think it is if they let these guys come in and dictate how we make the money.
Yeah, so as the resol stands, it's to convene a tourism and gaming working group.
Right.
That has a certain amount of people, including social services, law enforcement, taxation. It also allows for the co-chairpersons also to add on names as they see fit.
Yes.
You understand that
Yes.
correctly? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I got one, CNHA.
Hi, aloha, Senator.
Oh, same question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, I want to mahalo the lahui who has showed up today. I think it's incredibly important to hear those stories, and I am incredibly receptive to them. And that's why I wanted to stress at my oral testimony the importance of making an informed decision. I think I understand and support a working group led by Hawaiians to explore this. That's not the same as legalizing it. That's not the same as a commitment. But I want to understand what we're doing because I think I really do feel that there is a right way to do it, but then 1,000 wrong ways to do it. And so being able to have the right people at the table to talk that through, to go through the risks and to try to mitigate that as much as possible, or even just to decide it's not worth it for us, I think that's an important step to just start the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Sorry, we're not taking testimony. Okay, no. You guys asked the questions. We asked the question. Any other questions?
I got one final question.
Okay, Senator Richards.
Prosecutor. And I appreciate this conversation because I'm listening very, very carefully to all of you. And Chair DeCoit has pointed out this is a working group to explore. This isn't to validate whether or not gaming is the right thing to do. That being said, because part of it is gaming is part of the exploration, it's not the whole exploration. So I just wanted to state that up front, that I'm not convinced this is the right thing to do, but I also don't have enough data to know. So, Prosecutor, just comments again from the conversation, please.
Yeah, well, for certain things, the online gaming is happening so fast around the country because it was 2018 that the US Supreme Court said other states can do it besides Vegas. So 38 states have rushed into this. And that's the one that scares me the most because that's a casino in your hand. So in the privacy of their living room, young men especially are going to go nuts with this. And the game, you know, I share Mr. Makaba's concerns about the FanDuels and the DraftKings because they're going to be encouraging you to bet. And they say we have legacy bets. Well, legacy bets mean, you know, legacy honors. That means you've lost $10,000 or you've lost $20,000. You're a loser. I mean, the management company operation at the University of California, San Diego looked at it. And like I said before, 96% of the bettors lose online. 4% win. And if they keep winning, they cut them off or limit them to dollar bets because you don't have the right to gamble. So I'm just worried that it could tarnish sports. I mean, if you have a casino, you have one place to go. You got to get maybe dressed up, I don't know, but if you act nuts, they'll throw you out. But it takes an effort as opposed to being in the living room. And I appreciate that it's this working group, but the working group is working toward finding ways to legalize gambling. The way I read the HCR, it's not like asking them to do a cost-benefit analysis like you might ask LRB to do it. And the fact that I'm glad you took those names out, but that's, to me, the intention, and they're going to want to get involved in this. So we've seen increases in domestic violence and other stuff. The Native Hawaiians have been screwed here forever. So whatever can be done to help them, I totally agree with that. I just think we're going to end up with a new generation of problem gamblers, especially with the sports bookmaking. That's the one that scares me the most.
Okay, thank you.
Chair.
Yeah.
Chair.
Thank you.
No, go ahead. Senator DeCourt.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Do you see this eventually working at some point? I mean, it's so hard to predict what's going to be happening 5 or 10 years down the road. I do believe that there is kind of a niche here. However, as example, for the district I represent, I mean, we're understaffed as far as HPD officers, sheriffs are so I understand the crime element of it, that my community is like, they're on high alert with this thing, right? So I understand that.
Yeah.
Do you see a way that there can be a discussion? I mean, is it the crime factor? Is it, what exactly is it? Is it working in other states where they do have full capacity of HPD officers?
I don't think the crime part is the biggest problem. I think it's the personal bankruptcies. It's the personal credit getting overextended. It's the, credit cards, going nuts, not paying your car. I think that's the more likely option. There will be some loan sharking that, we see in other states where people borrow money to gamble. And I see that as being a problem. But the problem is it's the activity itself that is so addicting. And that's why I keep bringing up sports online bookmaking, because apparently it is the most addictive form of gambling. And I think it's because you can do it 24/7 in your house. And I've read about professional gamblers will set their thing to make a bet at 2 o'clock in the morning to try to fool those other firms from thinking that, they're so addicted, they're going to bet at 2 o'clock in the morning. They just want some of the deals that you get at the beginning. So if you start losing money, they're going to say, Steve, here's $500 to get you rolling again. Well, and I'll bet the $500 and then I'll bet more than that. It's just the activity is so addicting. And I think it's the sports bookmaking, because it could be 24/7. That scares me the most.
Yeah, and I appreciate those comments, because, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, considering the amount of game rooms, chicken fights we have going on in our community and all those kinds of things. But I really appreciate your feedback. Thank you, Prosecuting Attorney, and Chairs, thank you very much.
And because the lowest income folks get hurt the most, that's Native Hawaiian. So
Any other questions? I want to do a follow-up. So, I think, I noticed that this also has a report that comes back to the legislature. While there's probably 20-something different people that sit on there, it is within the chairpersons to also add on additional people. But wouldn't you want to know whether we can peel this fire on the report coming back, that this is a bad way to go versus just jumping to the gun? I mean, I would love to see the data. I think as a prosecuting attorney, wouldn't you want to have all your evidence prior to making a decision?
absolutely. So I'd much prefer any sort of study or working group rather than passing like sports bookmaking this
So
session.
this is a working group that will come back with a report, which I think would be really helpful for us to then say, based on those individuals that sit on this working group, that they can come back to this body and say, you know what, this is a really bad idea. The data shows us that this will continue to be addictive. The social service will diminish, because, I have my own concerns, but I kind of want to know so I can make my own informed decision, as well as I would expect this committee to do, versus us kind of just, firing off without, I've always looked towards you to take on information and then decide what the information.
As
that
long
you
as
had.
the working group is open to hearing that kind of data, because the way I read the resolution, I'm worried that it's just, how can we open up, how can we do casinos, how can we do lotteries, how can we do sports booking, as opposed to the question of, is
But I
this a
think
good idea
because
or
you
bad?
have a seat for law enforcement here, and
Yeah,
law
there's
enforcement
one-
has been doing a lot of busting on these games, I think it would be super helpful for us to know those amount of things occurring, I think would help us make a better and more informed decision, versus of just saying, let's just blow it off. I think we'll have more credibility to then say, I don't think this works for the state of Hawaii.
I agree. We've been working with Mike Lambert on busting all those 60 game rooms so far.
And I like Mike Lambert.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
And
you.
he's willing to take on any activity, and we're happy. I just hope the personal side of it, the bankruptcy side, the other states, is part of it so they can make an
Yeah.
informed decision. I agree with you completely.
And I think it'll allow us to add on
Okay,
names as
that'd be
they
great.
occur,
I'd be
so,
happy to
you know,
participate.
I would
too.
love to have you on
Okay,
there as well.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, no, thank you. And Brendan, definitely hearing what you are saying about a seat at the table, literally, on this situation, because I agree, you guys need to have a seat at the table. But like I said, I'm not convinced that this is the right direction for gaming, but I want to know. So, Chair,
No, ready for decision
I
making?
think we're ready for a decision.
Yeah. Okay, so HCR 192 requesting the Department of Business Economic Development Tourism to establish a Native Hawaiian Economic Development Working Group. Recommendation, I believe, based on the testimony and the fact that we need more information to make a sound decision going forward. I agree with all of you folks. As a Native Hawaiian myself, addiction, social services, all of these things lack on what is there. I don't believe even in the realm of gaming in Hawaii that revenue stream is there to address many of these things. I believe that HR 192, HD2 has narrowed the scope of this working group and is literally contrary to the intent of the original resolution. So I'm recommending that we pass this resolution by amending it to incorporate the version that was passed by the Senate in SCR 121 SD1 that will also allow us to add on individuals to this working group that will help us make a better and more informed decision. The Senate version would help us in considering a legalized gaming framework for the state and what direction, whether it will take a framework in legalizing gaming or say we've had enough of this conversation and put it to rest in the future regarding gaming legislation. With that being said, that is the recommendation. Recess. Any discussion?
Recess.
Recess. Okay, sorry for that interruption. So again, recommendation is to pass, well, without the scope of this working group and is contrary to the intent of the original resolution, recommend that we pass this resolution by amending it to incorporate the version that was passed by the Senate SCR 121 SD1. Senate version will help us in considering a legalized gaming framework for the state on whether or not that direction is the right direction we take in the future regarding gaming legislation. Any discussion?
Yeah, Chair, let me make a comment.
Go ahead.
People in the room, you can, and online, obviously, this is a very sensitive subject. And don't think that your senators up here are taking this lightly, because they're not. We're looking at many different facets that we're going through. And every statement made by every person was listened to very carefully on the group. Though I trust my colleagues, we don't always agree, which is why this is a very effective way of passing legislation. So I think we're ready for the vote.
You know, and likewise, you know, I think all of us have considered testimony, and as we look towards people testifying, we also understand where everybody's coming from and the right and wanting to know. So with that being said, let's take the vote. Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Reservations.
Senator Kim.
No.
Senator Awa is excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Okay, on the subject of HCR 192, its chair is recommended pass, but I'm voting with reservations.
Okay, voting on HCR 192 HD2, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair votes with reservations. Vice Chair votes with reservations. Senator Ihara?
No.
No. Senator DeCourt?
No.
Senator Kilhokalola is excused. Chair recommendation did not pass.
Failed.
Okay. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Aloha and welcome to the hearing with Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism. Today is Tuesday, April 15, 2025, and this is our 1:15 p.m. agenda, and we are in conference room 225. This agenda has one House resolution, so we'll go ahead with HCR 77. First up on the testifiers is Wendy Gady from Agri Development Corporation.
Part-time for Wendy, the Agribusiness Development Corporation stands on its fiscal support.
Thank you. Next up, Chair Hurd, Department of Ag.
Aloha, Chair, members of the committee. Cedric Gates here on behalf of the Department of Agriculture. The department stands on its written testimony, offering comments, supporting the intent, and deferring to ADC. Thank you.
Okay, next up, HCR 77, Larry Jeffs in support. Brian Miyamoto testifying for Hawaii Farm Bureau in support. Stephanie Whalen, Kunia Village Holding Corporation on Zoom. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Senator, for hearing this measure. And I hope you have my written testimony. I'm sorry it was late. But what I wanted to do is to indicate how important I believe this is to the agriculture industry as a whole. And the legislature has been very helpful in providing many laws and things to help and support agriculture, but somehow we're still struggling to get it going and be effective. And I think part of the problem is because we have a little bit of land here under IAL, we fix a water system over there, we put a hub here, and these things are all scattered. And here's an opportunity, just by chance, that many of the things agriculture needs is all in one place. It doesn't have to only be here. It can be found on each one of the islands if this concept proves to be successful. And basically in this corridor from the H1 freeway all the way to Wailua, it has small, large, and medium farmers. Much of the land has already been put into IAL plus or conservation easement, which keeps it in ag forever. It has actually 4 water systems. It has 2 ditch systems, and it has 2 wastewater treatment systems that gives it sustainability.
Thank you. Can you wrap it up? Your time is up, please.
Yes, I'm just saying that all these elements that agriculture needs to be a successful industry are present. Thank you.
Okay,
for the
thank you.
opportunity.
Next up, Donna Busimi in support. Anybody else wishing to testify? No. Okay, can you I'm gonna lose quorum shortly, and this resolution will die.
Okay, I just wanted to be helpful to this discussion.
Okay.
Although it's not my community, I'm testifying in strong support.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can I just?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what this resolution contemplates in terms of projected development in the agriculture industry and future investments in farm products is that there will be advancement in agriculture as a strong economic development sector, right? So new infrastructure and planning for it involves the county's offices of Department of Environmental Services, Board of Water Supply, and Planning for Electrical Utilities. This is a supporting foundation of preparing for growth in ag development and farm
Thank you,
industry.
Angela. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else wishing to testify? Seeing none, members, we're going straight to decision making. Okay, recommendation is to pass with an SD1 that would request that the ADC establish a list of prioritizing potential infrastructure improvement projects, not in just the central Oahu agriculture corridor, but also on a statewide basis, because this may benefit many other agriculture areas in the state. Any discussion? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Chair votes aye on HCR 77. Chair votes aye. Chair is excused. Senator Fukunaga. I vote aye. Senator Wah is excused. 3 members present. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. With that, we are adjourned.